All right, we are going live. Ain't no jive when we're going live. Hey, Sue, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Where are you?
Me, Sue?
Yeah.
Well, we're going live. Let me pretend as if you can hear me, Sue. I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but we're doing another installment of Get a Klu in 52 for speakers, or the speaker edition, with my co-author and friend. There's so many, layers to our relationship, Sue. I'm trying to see if you're coming in or coming out, or if it's my connection or yours. But here's the deal: I'm going to just assume that we're going and that everybody can hear me just fine. But I am in Cancun. I'm not in my normal location. Sue, you're not in your normal location either, correct?
No, I'm today. I am in Scotts Valley, back in California, having just completed a 9-day road trip.
Yeah. I saw one of your posts online. You look so refreshed. You look so fulfilled. It was great to see you. And of course, I'm going to see you in San Diego. I'm going to be in Cancun for a couple days, but I'm going to get back to San Diego soon enough. And we're going to do an event next week, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let's get to the matter at hand. We're here to read the 25th tip. And you are Sue Mathieson, co-author, certified integrity game coach. I am Jeffrey Klubeck, founder and author of The Integrity Game, which we took the 10-point model and made it section 1 of this book right here, Get a Klu in 52. So we had the 10 tips that represent the integrity game for structural integrity and foundation. And then we moved into section number 2, which is bring out your brand. Once we got the infrastructure, we can paint and color on top of it, all the things that make us different, unique, and special, differentiating us from others in this world. But where we're at now is section 3, be fearless. We're kind of like right in the middle with tip number 25 today on be fearless. And when we finish this section, we're going to move on and break down one of the tips in this section into 10 tips in and of itself. Elements, forms, and functions of the 5th step to fearless public speaking. I might explain that a little bit more as we move forward. And then at the end of the year, we're going to wrap up with 12 tips around practice building. So whether you're a speaker or any other form of service, or content producer or service-based professional, really it's applicable in so many ways. If you're entrepreneurial, or if you're solopreneur, or if you're a micro business owner, there's 12 accountabilities that we all have to pay attention to as we build our practices towards businesses. And we're going to end the year there. It's especially powerful for speakers. So going back to where we're at right now, section 3, the 21st tip overall, which was the first tip in this section, is it's not about you, which is interesting because it's not all about you. It's kind of all about us when we're playing the integrity game and we're figuring out our brand. Why are we a speaker? Why are we delivering messages? But once we get on stage, it's not about us at all. It's all about the messaging and the delivering and the landing of our message with the audience. And then a lot of people avoid so many opportunities in life to get into public speaking because they say they're afraid of public speaking, but they're not. They're afraid of the results of public speaking or the preparation of public speaking. Yeah. I'm making the argument that the real fear of public speaking is preparing for it. It's not the actual moment that we're on stage. And so the following, that's tip number 21 and tip number 22, the first 2 tips in this section. But starting with tip number 23, and for the rest of this section, we're going to cover 8 steps to fearless public speaking. So 2 weeks ago, we started with declaring your purpose again. We say again because declaring your purpose is the very first tip at the very first week of the year in the integrity games. Purpose, meaning, why. I'm re-listening to Simon Sinek's Start With Why to make sure that I'm more current and more present-minded to the power of why and meaning and making sure that we're communicating the why of it all rather than just the how of it all or the features of it all. Why? That's super important. Now, in public speaking, it's actually easier because it's just entertain, inform, or persuade. You got 3 choices: entertain and persuade. And so we want to make sure that we understand what's our purpose for this talk, okay? And then every other decision that we have to make in the preparation process aligns with or attaches to that purpose. It's easier to make decisions when we're reminding ourselves, what's the purpose? Okay, of all the things that we could talk about, we don't never have enough time to talk about everything that we could talk about. So we're going to have to break it down, which is what we're going to get into today a little bit. But last week we talked about picking a topic. Once you've decided on your purpose, you want to pick a topic, but not just pick a topic. You got to name the topic because we want to get away from, as we talked about in section 2, right? When we were talking about branding and bring out your brand, we want to get away from jargon and into slogans. So we want the topic to be sexy, attention-gating, mysterious.
The title.
Yeah. What we name, what we title that talk, it needs to compel people to want to hear what's going on there. We need to speak to the pleasure and the pain. Similar with branding, right? That we talked about these concepts with branding. So once we've picked the topic, the argument here is, before I give it off to you, Sue, to get us into today's tip, is, I'll say it again, there is never enough time in any given presentation to talk about everything there is to talk about for any given topic. So the argument then is, we're going to have to break it down. We're going to have to decide what we are going to say and what we aren't going to say about any given topic we've chosen, which brings us to today's tip. Sue, you want to pick us up from here and maybe get us into it? Or do you have any comments or questions before we get into the tip reading of tip number 25, organizing content?
Yeah, I'll get into it really quickly, but just to note that, the difference between having the topic, but then having that really attention-gaining title that you were just talking about, and that they are two different things. And that was where we finished off last week, and where I was considering my answer to, and I provided a summary, and then it really led into what we're talking about today. So opening up the tip 25 today, organizing content, and reading word for word from page 111.
Hang on a second, Sue, before you get started.
Yeah.
I want you to know that I got myself a pina colada for today's tip reading, but hang on a second. I just want you to know, I'm thinking of you too. I got two. I got one for you and one for me. Okay. Just want to make sure you understand. Happy summer. It's Friday. And by the way, when I've got these in my hands, they're not pina coladas. They're pina cluladas. That's right. All right.
I love it.
All right. Let me get that little bit of joviality introduced on a Friday, and then I kick it off to you. Go ahead, Sue.
Will you enjoy it on my behalf?
You know I will. All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll, Sue.
So organizing content. So what I say here is, now that I have an exciting topic, what do I do to make sure I don't just waffle and lose the audience? Given that there is normally a time limit for speaking in any situation, what is an approach to make sure what I say is meaningful?
All right, here we go. Word for word. The key is to organize your content. Before I elaborate, though, I want to clarify something. You don't have an exciting topic. You have an exciting title for your talk. The difference between topic and title is so important to keep top of mind. Never lose sight of the main point of the last tip, which we did a good job reviewing, Sue. The topic is about you and your expertise, but the title is about what will attract your prospects, clients, audience. That said, to keep your audience on track, and now that you have your topic, you need to break it down into main points that are organized with a logical relationship. Focus on those two words, logical relationship. Chances are you know a large amount about your topic and could talk about it for any length of time. However, you will never have enough time to cover everything there is to know about a given subject matter, so you need to separate it into specific components on which you will speak. The literature will tell us that we need anywhere from 3 to 5 main points. As a communications professor and public speaking expert, I'm going to recommend that you break your topic down into 3 main points. Next page. Go ahead, Sue.
As I'm developing my main points, are there any specific aspects I should be keeping in mind?
There sure are. Keep it natural, simple, and easy to follow. And by the way, for those of you that are following along at home, those are in all caps. We wrote those words, all caps. I'm going to say it again. Keep it natural, simple, and easy to follow. Remember, the major goal of the entire 8-step process is to be so prepared that we can speak conversationally and not to memorize or read our entire speech. Being conversational will be much easier if you remember all the major aspects versus every little word. Major aspects versus every little word of your speech by keeping it simple with 3 main points. As a matter of fact, there's a Klubi snack in here that I'll get to in the context. Here we go. And there's nothing worse than an audience member thinking, quote, where is this presentation going? Because as soon as the audience member asks themselves questions about your presentation, they are no longer listening to it. I'm going to say that again as a Klubi snack. As soon as the audience member asks themselves questions about your presentation, they're no longer listening to it. Of course, if there is anything worse than an audience that loses where the speaker is or is going, it is a speaker who loses where they are or where they are going. So do yourself a favor and keep it simple and easy to follow by limiting yourself to 3 main points. Use simple patterns to establish good flow, because you never want to do anything that would jeopardize your connection with the audience. One key to selecting main points is to have that logical relationship dictating that selection. Your end game in choosing a logical relationship is to create flow for both yourself and your audience to follow. It is important that both you and your audience stay on track with the content throughout the presentation. Main points can be organized by, and we're going to give you 3 different approaches to organizing main points. Number 1, topic/category, 3 different aspects, versions, or examples of the same thing. Or time, chronologically, using a first, then, finally pattern. And then the third form, or the third organizational approach, is space or geography, spatial geographic, where parts of something or location creates the relationship. No matter how you go about organizing your main points, if you are mindful to use one of these simple patterns, your points will all relate to each other logically in a way that is easy for you and your audience to follow. These patterns are very helpful for speeches to inform or to entertain, but when you are speaking to persuade, I always recommend what the literature calls stock issues approach. With stock issues, the 3 main points are decided for you because they are designed to address the predictable questions an audience must have answered in order to be convinced to take action. Here's a summary of this very simple approach to persuasion. First main point, the issue, the problem or the opportunity. And by the way, I'm going to stop reading word for represent. A coin that has a heads and a tails. Same thing with an issue. It's either an opportunity or a problem. Same coin, depending on how we look at it. So your first main point, you're saying, hey, what's the issue? What's the big deal? What's the problem? What's the opportunity? Right? And I can go deeper on that, but very, very simply put, first main point, the issue. Second main point, the barriers, parentheses, it says, to ideal resolution of the issues. So let's review. In the first main point, I talked to you about a problem or an opportunity, the harms and the rewards, the size and the magnitude, right? Now it makes sense. It's logical. Well, knowing that this is so important, why aren't people solving this problem? Or knowing that this is so awesome, why aren't people taking advantage of this opportunity, right? So that's your second main point, is what are the barriers to taking action? What are the barriers to resolving? What are the barriers to realizing the opportunity or solving the problem? And then finally, it makes sense. Those of you that I don't even need to read it word for word, you know it's coming, right? What are the solutions? All right, I know this is important. Oh, you're right. Those things have been keeping me from doing something about it. So what can I do? What actions can I take? Very simple. So the third main point is the solution to be taken by the audience. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, reading word for word. So this is great. I'm feeling that I'm ready to go now and start putting my speech together.
Not so quick. I wasn't done. Once you have your main points, you will then need to develop sub-points that also need a logical relationship. But before we discuss sub-points, remember, tip 25 recap. The third step to fearless preparation is to organize your content by breaking your topic down into 3 main points of identifying the problem, identifying the barriers, and the solution or solutions with call to action that you wish your audience to take. All right. Woohoo! We did it.
Woohoo!
We're done with the word for word part anyway.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Very good. Very good. What I love about this is where you gave the 3 examples of topic/category, time chronologically, and space geography, is it really helps to almost visualize in your own mind what the relationship is. And because if you've got some sort of visual there, it just makes it so much easier. And the same with having the from a persuasion perspective, thinking about the issue, the barriers, the solution. If you can sort of have some visual in your mind, really does make it so much easier to speak to that.
Yeah,
And
one of the things that I use my hands because I don't have any graphics to show. But the idea is, if these three fingers are my three main points, right? They're separate fingers, are they not? They're separate.
yeah,
But they connect right here. This is where they're all the same. They're all part of the same hand, right? So any topic that we have, when we break it down into three main points, the 3 points are different, but they're all related. There's a logical relationship. That's what we're getting at. So let's test this out, okay? Because I've done this thousands of times with my adult learners in my public speaking classes when they have to pick topics for speeches. You know how many students have come up to me, Professor Klubeck, I don't know what to do my speech on. Right? And then finally I'm like, well, and then I find that, so let's role play this, Sue. All right, so what do you love?
What do I love? I love hiking.
You love hiking. Okay, so let's use the topical category. Topical. Are there three different types of hikes? Is there summer hikes or winter hikes, or is there backpacking hikes or camping hikes or one day? You know what I'm saying? Like topical would basically be three. They're all hiking, but three different types of hiking, and you probably know this better than I do, right? Okay, but chronologically. Right? What if we're going to talk about hiking chronologically? Preparing to hike, hiking, and then coming down.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then space geography, three different places where you've hiked. You see how easy that is?
Yeah.
And now that should get the picture in your mind that you were talking about, right? But
exactly.
I took one topic, hiking. You didn't prepare me for this. I didn't know what you were going to say. But because I understand these three different approaches to a logical relationship to break down a topic, I can break down any topic, anytime, for anyone, anywhere. I can help anybody get clarity and focus and structural integrity around their talk by forming logical relationships. So now check this out. For persuasion, okay? Hiking is awesome. Let me tell you how awesome it is, why it's awesome, the rewards that come from hiking, right? And how many people get benefit from this and how, right? But some people are afraid of hiking, or there's barriers to hiking. So here's what I recommend you do. So when we get into the persuasive approach, same thing. I would talk about all the rewards of hiking, how awesome the opportunity is to go hiking, and what can come to our life, and what can come to your stamina, your resilience, your self-worth, your track record of accomplishment, or putting yourself through challenge. I would talk about all of that in the first main point. Does that make sense? And then in the second point, well, knowing that hiking is so awesome, what's preventing people from going hiking? So there's either attitudinal barriers or structural barriers, like either the man is keeping you from hiking or yourself is keeping you from hiking, right? And so now that we've identified barriers, I'm afraid, or I don't have the money, or I don't have anybody to go with, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now I've talked about the opportunity, I've talked about the barriers, and now I'm ready to propose solutions. So for those of you that just want to get started, do a Google search for hiking club, or follow my posts, or read this book on hiking by so-and-so, like whatever the recommendations, whatever the solution. Does this make sense to you? I don't know anything about hiking compared to you, Sue.
Yeah.
Right? But I just organized 4 hiking speeches.
Yeah, I know.
I organized topical, chronological, spatial geographical, and persuasive. And right now the structure is there. Now anybody should be motivated to actually fill in that infrastructure with the content. Now next week we're going to talk about the sub points. I've kind of hinted at them just now, right? But we're going to talk about, now that we've got a logical relationship for our 3 main points, now while we're in any one of those main points, we got to break it down even further into the sub points. So I'm going to elaborate on all of that next week. But how did I do on helping you organize your speech on hiking?
Amazing. Like just bang, 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 bang.
Is it pineapple worthy? Pineapple worthy?
Definitely pineapple worthy. But what I'm noticing though, in you've got the framework, but what I actually started doing myself was sitting down and writing a list of, going back to the start of this section, of all the topics that I would like to talk to. And so I think what's important is, one, giving us, as a speaker preparing, give ourselves that time and space to put pen to paper and allow the thoughts to come. But in doing that, using the framework that we've talked about and today's tip of how to organize the content, and ask ourselves the question, okay, I've got my topic. What would I want to know about? If, using the topic / category idea, what would I want to know about the time chronologically? And so I think what you've been able to do very quickly in terms of filling in those answers is because you're asking yourself the question of what would that look like? So it's you do it really fast. But I think it's just, I guess what I wanted to highlight is from a speaker who's preparing that it's so important to just give yourself the time and space and not put that expectation that you're going to be able to come up with responses really quickly, but just allow yourself time to work through that and ask yourself the questions.
Yeah, what I think is really important about what you just said was the whole pen to paper idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what you really mean, and I hope this is what you really mean, is give yourself the time. Because what we're here to make sure people are aware of is that the pen to paper, the actual pen to paper or typing, right? Writing the speech or drafting or constructing the speech is actually 2 tips from now. Right. So this organizing content tip, it's tip number 25 overall, but it's the 3rd step towards fearless public speaking. We're actually going to start writing words in the 5th step.
Yeah. That's not what I'm referring to.
Yeah, exactly. So the first 4 tips, right? First 4 steps. Number 3 is today. Number 4 is next week, right? Tip 25 and 26 overall. But the first 4, purpose, topic, main points, subpoints. Purpose, topic, main points, subpoints. You could do on a paper napkin, or you could doodle it or scratch it out, right? But just to get that picture in your head that you were talking about before. Once you know your purpose, you know your topic, you know your main points, and you know your subpoints, now you want to open up a computer and start outlining it. Or now you want to actually start to write your introduction and your transitions, and you want to start to create placeholders for the actual content. Right, which you can do once you've done the work of getting organized first.
And I think that's the key. And I love the word doodle. It's giving ourselves permission to not have it exact from the first go, but to play with the ideas within that framework.
Right.
Sketch them out, allow them to change as ideas form. But it's that pen to paper, doing it on a napkin, having the freedom to find another napkin, start again, check it out.
My personal rule number 17 is you can never have too many napkins. You can have enough. You can have enough, but never too many.
So I love it. But
I want to tell you right now that I kind of made a minor commitment to myself. Well, it's twofold. Well, threefold. I'm thinking 3 commitments that I made to myself heading into today's tip reading. Number 1, I was going to have, my beautiful background of Cancun behind me with the palm trees, and I was going to have a pina colada during today's tip reading because, darn it, I deserve it. Okay. The second commitment that I made is that I was going to have one for you. So,
thank you.
Yes. As I begin pina colada number 2,
I love it.
The third commitment that I made was that I wasn't going to read the URL that people can type in to join us until I've had at least one pina colada. So here we go. Normally we convert this thing into a tiny URL to make it kind of easy, but for some reason, I don't know, I haven't even time to research it. Technically, the tiny URL wasn't working. It's probably some error on my part. But here it is. I'm going to go ahead. https://streamyard.com. Ready? /3QIJGKBRPA. So if you got that, you can read it and type it. If you want to join us, come on in. But some of these sessions will go for an hour. They're always budgeted for 45 minutes. And some of them, we don't have to go as long. And, I remember back in April, 2 months ago, I was in the Bahamas. Can you believe it? And now I'm in Cancun. Interesting.
Nice.
The 2 places my passports were stamped this year so far, only 2 countries that I've been to other than the United States, Bahamas and Cancun, not in Mexico, right? Not bad. But I'm hesitant to get into last call just yet. Let me see if you have anything else you want to ask or share about the tips specifically, Sue.
No, I don't think I don't really have anything else to ask or share. Just that I think what was really important is, I think, allow, as a speaker preparing, is giving ourselves permission and blocking out a section of time where we can just doodle, just allow thoughts to go to paper.
Yeah, it's really about, again, we're re-emphasizing speaking is not what you're afraid of. It's preparing to speak that you're avoiding, and you don't have to avoid it. Take your time. And we're hopefully giving some valuable tips that will help make it easier for you to jump into that. Now, I am sharing my screen. You see my screen, Sue?
It's coming up. Yes.
All right. So it's time to let everybody know that you are stateside and you're coming down to San Diego. I get to see you. Are you ready? I'm branding the hug. It's the hug heard round the world, right? You know, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. I don't know which way you're getting to Australia, if you're going this way or if you're going that way. Of course, on the West Coast, we go through the Pacific Ocean, but I've gotten to Australia both ways, by the way, in my career. And Authors Hour. And so Authors Hour is a thing in and of itself. I did 4 of these in 2022. I didn't do one last year, but we're rebooting Authors Hour in your honor, Sue, because you're coming.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. We're rebooting it, and I've got the support of the University Club. So hats off to Jonathan and Jessica and all of the incredible people at the University Club for all the support that they're giving to the event. They're giving the room, and they're providing the light bites and the drink ticket, all for a $20 reservation. Are you kidding me? It's like, that's more affordable than staying at home.
It is.
$20 for business networking, light bites, a drink ticket. Are you kidding me? You're slitting your throat financially not to come to Authors Hour if you're anywhere near San Diego. And then just to bring up one other graphic that I'm proud of. So the idea, Authors Hour, we feature authors. I interview them about the writing process all the way through, and it's organized chronologically. When did you know you wanted to write? Tell me about the writing process. What was it like publishing? How did you market the book? How did you sell the book? How are you leveraging the book now? That's all chronological, right? So I'm going to bring out those stories from authors, and you are on the panel with 2 other featured authors, Lisa Reed and Diane Forster. It's going to be super powerful. The registrations are coming in. I'm talking to a bunch of people this week, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be intimate. It's going to be maybe less than 30 people, but it's going to be powerful. So if you're going to attend, you can hold up your hand and get your questions asked directly, or maybe you have a book idea inside of you and you want to ask the panelists what they think, or to get guidance or feedback or perspective on your journey towards being an author. So I love this graphic so much. I just have to share Authors Hour. Bam, that pops. Lisa Reed is a superstar. She's so down to earth, but so powerful in what she does with International Speakers Network. Diane Forster is a seasoned media executive. She used to do buying for TV, and now she's helping people bring out their brands in a highest leveraged way. Because TV, despite all of the channels and all the social media and all the streaming and online stuff, TV is still arguably the most powerful medium to get your point across. And when you create your own TV show and you're the host of your own TV show, you've got an asset now. You're not just doing a stream like we are, but you've got an asset that you can market and redistribute. And I'll let her talk all about that. But Diane is a 2-time best-selling author, international, in fact. And she's just somebody I look up to and admire. And I'm thrilled that I get to work with her. And I wouldn't have known her the way that I do without Lisa Reed. And of course, Lisa wrote the foreword for our book, Sue. And so we're going to have you on the panel as well. And that's my humble approach to being featured myself is our connection. And when you're talking about Get a Clue in 52 for speakers, of course, it's like third-party credibility for me, but I like to give and I like to serve and I like to bring out people's brands. I like to support empowered women and inspire other women to become empowered and level the playing field in this world, and all of the reasons why I'm putting it together. I'm trying to string a lot of pearls here. And on top of all of it, we're going to raise money, Lamp of Learning scholarships. The University Club is dedicated to raising like 20 grand every year, I think, for Lamp of Learning scholarships to help people pursue higher education. And I know that I got help. I was coming through college. And so all of it is super, super, super near and dear to my heart. So to register for Authors Hour. If you're anywhere near San Diego on Tuesday, June 25th, go ahead and drop the $20 and come up and see us and be witness to the hugs heard around the world. And I finally get to see Sue again for the first time in several years. I get to meet Lisa Reed in person for the first time. I've met Diane Forster in person, but when I hug you and when I hug Lisa, those will be the hugs heard around the world. And hopefully we give a great evening of content, healthy networking, raising money for a good cause, and putting some good books out into the marketplace. So I wanted to make sure that I communicated that. Sue, having communicated that, we have made it. Last call. Comments, questions, jokes, riddles, haikus, limericks, or expressions of gratitude. Anything from you for last call?
Well, I'm very much looking forward to being in San Diego next week. It will be fabulous to see you again after all these years, to meet Lisa and Diane, having seen them online, and to meet people in person. And I think there'll be others in the audience that I'm very much looking forward to meeting and seeing. And there's a couple of people that I've invited. I hope they're there as well, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, Lisa's been great about promoting it. I've seen a couple people from her network that are planning on coming. I don't want to give the surprise away, but I think we're even going to have some mood music.
Nice.
Some elegant saxophone, I believe, is going to be entertaining us for the first hour, which is networking, book signing, light bites, drink ticket, and then right at 6:30, we'll go ahead and get into the programming. We'll get everybody seated and settled, set up the panel, and get the Q&A and the panel-style mastermind discussion happening. But as far as today is concerned, we were covering tip note number 25 overall, was organizing our content around the topic we've selected. Right. So as we start to review and focus in on 8 steps to fearless public speaking, step number 1 is to declare your purpose. Am I speaking to entertain, inform, or persuade? Once you make that decision, now you have to select the topic, which is about you and your expertise, but then you have to name it or sloganeer that topic, create a title for your speech that is about your audience wanting to watch it. Once you've got that far, now, as we've talked about today, we want to break that topic down into 3 main points. We've given you 4 options for doing that, 4 approaches to organizing your content in your head so you can see the speech in your mind. And then next week, we'll get into tip 26, which is the 4th step in the process, and we'll break the main points down into the subpoints. And then 2 weeks from now, we're really going to roll up our sleeves and preview the entirety of section 4 when we get into the 5th step to fearless public speaking. And oh, by the way, if you don't want to wait week by week by week by week to get all of this content that we're delivering in these streams, you can send us an email to info@getaklu.net with the subject line "Be Fearless" and get a free copy to just a little ebook, 8 Steps to Fearless Public Speaking. Of course, repositioning content. We took that ebook and we made it 8 of the 10 tips in section 3 for Get a Clue and 52 for speakers. So that's a lot. That's a mouthful, right? These these pina coladas are not slowing me down. All right, Sue. So here we go, Sue. Last call before I get back to vacation with my wife.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be online again, and love what we've gone through today. I think some really great ideas for speakers out there who are looking to level up and do better preparation and be more comfortable with approaching what they're going to talk about. But I wish you a lovely couple of days with Marianne. Enjoy Cancun.
And I'd be remiss. 2 things I want to say right now. First of all, I cleared everything off of my calendar except this, except you, except us, except this commitment I have to the consistency of being online once a week and reading a tip and getting it out there, right? But what I really want to say in saying that is just a huge thank you to my wife, my supportive spouse, my go-to. I'm nowhere. I'm nothing without her. And she's chilling, hearing this in the background going, all right, Jeffrey, enough. I think they get the idea, right? But the bottom line is, and I want to make sure the world knows it, I'm nowhere. I'm nothing without Marianne. We're a team, and it's great to be here to reconnect with her. And I appreciate her giving up these 35 minutes of our vacation together so I can always do what I'm committed to doing. She's the best, and she deserves all the gratitude and all the praise in the world. So wanted to make sure I said that. Anything else, Sue, from you before we dismiss for today?
Not today. Nothing else from me.
All right, Sue, I can't wait to see you. Have a great weekend. And Tuesday I'll be here before we know it. I'll see you
I
then.
know, you too. Take care.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.